Welcome everyone to the next episode of the Said Nutrition Podcast. You're with your host Bryan and Peter today, and this is episode 80, and it is titled Vitamin C for Horses. How are you, Peter?
Bryan, very chilly today. I've had my cold shower, but I'm still cold, so I'm not sure what's going on. I might need some lemon water to get my vitamin C in.
Brisbane has turned into a bit of a cooler place of late, and I see a bit of vitamin C around this office at the moment. And yeah, this is what we're going to really touch on today, in particular for the horse. And typically, well, I reckon, as we discussed before, Peter, 5 to 10 years ago, we would say, yeah, the horse makes its own vitamin C. Why do we need a supplement? But in times of stress and sickness, we do know that vitamin C production is lower.
Yeah, and also too, Bryan, with the older horses too, as they age, obviously the vitamin C gets produced in the liver as well, and as the liver function isn't as well, they don't produce enough to maintain that maintenance level. So hence supplementation, needs to be added. So Bryan, to get sort of stuck into it, I might sort of go through. Most people think that vitamin C is there to help, with your immune system. That's one part of it, but what it actually does is, so vitamin C in terms of immune system and resistance, it's great for infections / colds, but what it actually does, so it protects the immune system and other tissues from free radicals generated when immune system cells are activated, basically. So therefore it ends up moderating friendly fire from the immune system activity rather than actually preventing the infection itself. Another antioxidant function is the regeneration of used vitamin E back to its active form.
Yeah, and our listeners would be familiar with the word antioxidant in terms of we need to get sufficient antioxidants in the diet for performance horses in particular. And if there is not a sufficient amount of antioxidants in there, it can have an overall decrease in endurance capacity and performance, because the antioxidants are there to help protect the muscles and the nerve cells. When a horse is under that stress of performance, then vitamin C is no different to vitamin E. They are both localized in the cell membranes, and they really help protect the vital tissues in the horse when they're under that strain and work. And the word free radical, it sounds pretty sciencey, but they're just a normal production of cell metabolism and happens when the immune system works to protect the body. And they're a normal process in the horse's body, but we have to help neutralize these with sufficient amount of antioxidants. And that's where vitamin C can assist this, as well as the other antioxidants in the diet.
Yeah, that's extremely well summarized, Bryan. So as an antioxidant, vitamin C is very potent, and what it does is it neutralizes the damaging free radicals, as you mentioned, that can be caused by pain, stress, inflammation. I'll go through a list of other sort of ailments that free radical formation can cause, and it starts from muscle soreness, overworked joints, intense exercise, weather extremes, arthritis, allergies, insect bites, injuries, surgery, pain, mental stress, stalling or boxing horses, grazing deprivation, loneliness, boredom, pollution, infections, ulcers, colic, poor teeth, and just general disease.
Yeah, so as you can see, overall, we need to have that sufficient amount of antioxidant in the diet to help neutralize these free radicals.
So basically all of those above conditions, Bryan, trigger the horse's immune system into high gear, and obviously hence the formation of the free radicals, and that's why that vitamin C is crucial.
Yeah, and as a horse ages, its immune system is probably not functioning at its best compared to when it was a younger horse, and having that extra antioxidant support with vitamin C in the diet can only have a beneficial effect on their whole body systems later in life and help support it.
So, Bryan, some of our listeners out there might be saying, well, horses can manufacture their own vitamin C. Yeah, that's true when they've got ample fresh pasture, but when it gets cold, like wintertime, and obviously that pasture goes down or it's not as nutritious, or the horses are placed on a hay-only diet, those blood levels of vitamin C drop dramatically. So supplementation needs to be added.
Yeah, it's a good idea to really look at your performance horse or a horse that's in stress and see if you see those signs and symptoms of vitamin C deficiency. And that's from poor hair coat, weakened immune system, like even delayed wound healing, because it does play a role in collagen formation in the body.
Yeah, just further on to that, Brian, as by that list I just read out, it's very easy to have these high levels of free radical which are generated. But what's more important is that it's been well documented too. The horses with chronic lung disease have been documented to have low levels of vitamin C in lung fluid, and supplementation shown to support normal lung function. So it's paramount if you've got a horse that's got lung issues or chronic lung issues. Vitamin C might be a good alternative to try.
Yeah, so here at Sen, we want to support every horse, in particular those performance horses that are just not at the top of their game due to the stress, all the sickness, all those stresses on the body that is entailed. And that's why we have now access to a really good quality vitamin C in the form of sodium ascorbate. And typically there have been forms of vitamin C like ascorbic acid used in vitamin C supplements, but we have chosen a better quality one that's easier on the stomach, and Peter will just elaborate on that.
Yeah, basically the nuts and bolts of it, Brian, is that the general form, which is widely available, ascorbic acid, as you mentioned, has got a 3.0 pH, and compared that to the sodium ascorbate, which we have chosen to use, is 7.4. So it's more pH neutral. And what it does is it causes less irritation on sort of minor heartburn or gastronomical upset. So it's a lot safer, healthier for the gut.
Yeah, and we find this is a really effective form to be placed into the Send Feed program.
Yeah, I think the take-home message is that when you do have an older horse, or you have got a horse that's in performance, if you have a hay-only diet, obviously the Send Oil is great to top up those omega-3s, but hay's deficient in vitamin C, and if your horse is stressed and it's on a hay-only diet, chances are it's going to be deficient in vitamin C. So it is a good idea to even supplement at that 5 grams. The product we've got, the Send Vitamin C, which is sodium ascorbate. It's very cost effective in terms of the dose per day, which is very small, minute. I think one packet 200 gram lasts 3 or 4 months. So it's a very good economical supplement for the winter time, especially if your horse is competing or is older as well.
Yeah, as we have outlined in the opening statements, that it really helps with all those conditions, but especially in winter when the horse is more prone to viruses or bacterial infections due to that cooler, wetter weather that we've been experiencing. And another aspect that we do have to recognize is that it does help iron absorption. So this is another important point, to make sure that the diet that you are feeding is balanced, and to lower that iron levels in any of the supplements or your feed, and choosing feeds that are lower in iron, because we know the Australian soils are abundant in them and you don't need to further supplement with the iron, and then in particular vitamin C. So that's another side point to this supplementation.
And this is why we've kept the iron very low in our hard feeds, from the lupin pellet to the grain-free to even the CF50. Obviously, we've got the minimal iron that comes naturally from the raw ingredients. We don't add iron like some of the other feed companies do. So this is where I think feeding vitamin C along with our pellets is extremely safe, because we obviously don't have any added iron. One point, Brian, I'd like to make is basically vitamin C, it works in 2 significant ways. And you mentioned briefly before the collagen synthesis. And what it is, obviously as our listeners will know, collagen is a protein, and it creates a matrix within the bones and joints to which minerals and other substances can attach. It's also part of the connective tissue and maintains blood vessel integrity. Therefore, enough vitamin C is important for keeping bones and joints healthy, reducing tooth loss, as well as preventing ruptured capillaries that can lead to abscesses. So that's paramount. And many people would know this, that it's a natural antihistamine. It's sort of shocked me a little bit. And how it works is horses that suffer from respiratory or skin allergies will benefit from additional vitamin C. As an antihistamine, it reduces the histamine response, making your horse more tolerant to allergens and hence more comfortable.
Yeah, they're really good points, Peter. And even furthermore to this, that vitamin C helps the conversion of vitamin D3 to calcitriol. So for that bone calcification and all that supporting structure, it's really underrated when you look at what it really does in the horse's body.
I think because over the years, the blanket's been thrown over where horses can manufacture their own vitamin C, then we don't need to supplement it. And that's correct for maintenance, not when a horse is ill, not when a horse is stressed, when it's just in a paddock grazing, doing nothing. 100% agree. But like, it is a little bit shocking, obviously, that those ailments that I read out before, and with the free radicals that obviously build up. And I mean, another example is if you're feeding another company's feed, which has a cooking oil inside the pellet itself, that's been oxidized. So when that horse eats that pellet, there's going to be free radicals that are reduced from that food. So if you're feeding that product daily, there's free radicals getting released daily. So now your horse is working overtime to produce vitamin C to get rid of those free radicals. And how it works is the production naturally is not keeping up with the need of the body, and that becomes a deficiency. And then you get an ailment or an illness, where I think if you're supplementing it at the same time, you're giving the body every chance to get rid of those free radicals, but also store some vitamin C for when it needs it for another occasion.
That's a really good summary, Peter. And furthermore to that, when vitamin C can't be kept up with that demand due to being old, that intense exercise, or even that long stressful travel, it's just a day after day effect that the horse is not thriving to its capacity. And it really is good to have a look at the focus of the vitamin C in the diet, particularly with those older horses.
And Bryan, like you said, maybe thriving not to capacity is because the horse has a vitamin C deficiency. And it could be as simple as correcting a vitamin C deficiency to get that horse back on track. For more intense needs, obviously when you got a horse that's sick, or obviously being exercised 7 days a week in the wintertime, no grass, pasture, the National Research Council, the NRC, suggests the upper safe limit of 44 milligrams of vitamin C per 1 kilogram of body weight. And what that equals is, for a 500 kilogram horse, this can be as high as 22,000 milligrams per day.
So like 22 grams.
22 grams. So yeah, 5 grams is probably, at the entry level. I think if you've got a horse that's a little bit older, struggling, maybe 5 to 10. But if you've got a horse that's sort of Olympic level, or you're going into, big competitions that really take the wind out of those horses. I mean, up to 22 grams has been proven by the NRC to be a safe level of supplementation.
Yeah, and like every supplement, don't add that 22 grams straight away. Just work up to it. So start at the 5 for a week, go to 10, and then work up to it. But as you can see, it's going to have a really beneficial effect, particularly in those high performance horses.
Look, I think, as I say with many of these supplements, the vitamin C to me is a great insurance policy. It's not expensive. It's, like the feed rate isn't that low. You can add it into the feed. I think it's about $40, and it's like a 150 day supply. So it's not going to break the bank, but if you are performing at that elite level, or you suspect that your horse might have a deficiency, it's even worthwhile, put him through one round of the sodium ascorbate and correct any deficiencies that horse might have, or that you might suspect it has.
Yeah, so the take-home message for our listeners in particular is, for a horse that is older, stressed, or in sickness, and lately there has been a few horses that we have found that have had Ross River virus, and they're going through their recovery, and the vitamin C supplementation can be really highly beneficial, and that's to support that ongoing treatment, getting back into its performance work. But what Peter and I sort of touched on before is, every domesticated animal, whether it's a dog, horse, they're going to have some element of stress in their environment, and these nutrients that we highlight on the podcast really show positive benefit on their overall health and their well-being.
Yeah, it's like an oil change for a car almost, Bryan, or like when we feel stressed, we go for a massage, or, we might go for acupuncture, or just to get those energy levels back where they need to be. And like you said, whether it's vitamin C or any other supplement, if there's a deficiency, obviously we want to correct that deficiency. Sometimes it's hard to know what the deficiency is, but I mean, through those symptoms that we've outlined today, hopefully that will make it easier for our listeners. The take-home point I'd like to make is that people might know or might not know that vitamin C is not exactly the most stable vitamin. So don't keep it lying out in your feed barn in the middle of summer, because you are going to go through a cruel fate. Keep it in a cool, dry place. Keep the container sealed. You can refrigerate it if you like to put in the fridge. Purchase small sizes. So one comes in a 200 200 gram size. So we have kept it small to keep the freshness as fresh as possible. And the last point I'd like to make is that for older horses, and I'm sort of saying 20 years plus, even sort of 15 depending on their condition, in my opinion, is I would supplement the older horse indefinitely with vitamin C for the remainder of their life, because their demands are a lot higher to what they can supply naturally, and you don't want them to go backwards and then have thousands in vet bills to try to fix the issues that deficiency might be causing.
Yeah, 100%, Peter. And as we say on nearly every podcast, treat every horse as an individual. They'll almost tell you when you can recognise the signs and symptoms, because you know your horse the best. And if you have any doubts, feel free to reach out to us. We're available on the phone, through social media, and through emails and through our website. So we're really happy to help guide you to the best supplementation for your horse.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that covers it, Bryan. Have you got a listener's question for us this week as well?
Yeah, I do. And it has come from a long-time Send supporter in Mel, who owns M&J Adjustments. And I'll just play the voice recording that she has submitted. And we're really grateful for your support throughout the years as well, Mel.
Hey, Bryan and Peter, it's Mel from M&J Adjustment and Spelling. As you know, we are long-time Send feeders. 85% of our personal horses, performance horses, and adjustment horses are on a Send-based diet. In New South Wales, we've been hit with a huge amount of rain the last few months. We fortunately aren't flooding at our place, but regular reoccurring wet grounds aren't ideal. The question we have for you is what owners can do to help protect and maintain hoof health in this wet weather.
Yeah, so that's a really good question, Mel. And yeah, thanks again once for your support. So yeah, we get this question a lot over the phone, and in particular in these recent months with this really wet weather in New South Wales and Queensland. So the wet conditions really play havoc with the horse's hoof health, and you got to really prevent them from becoming too soft, because when they have prolonged wetness or that mud, the hooves don't wear down naturally, and the deep mud can easily loosen and pull off shoes. So you have to really work with your farrier and be guided in that way. But in terms of nutrition, you really want to be feeding for the disulfide bridges, and these make your horse's hoofs more water repellent. In particular, the nutrients you're after is part of that Send feed program, and it's all balanced. So when you look at methionine, these are sulfur-containing amino acids, and this provides these building blocks for these bridges. But not only that, you need also for critical hoof wall strength, you need those bonds to form well, but with the growth, including lysine, zinc, copper, and calcium, and then also a good source of omega-3 fatty acids. Yeah,
Bryan, that's extremely well summarised. I think also from feedback that we've had from past clients, current clients, and even listeners, a lot of people, when they run into hoof problems, the silver bullet's biotin. Most people don't know that the average biotin on the market is only 2% biotin. So that means it must be 98% something else, whether it's a carrier or what so forth. So don't get sort of blindsided. Biotin's a silver bullet. I'm gonna get the cheapest one, and I'm gonna be getting 2% of the active ingredient. I know it does go up to about 30 or 35% active ingredient. I think that one is really expensive, and you might even need to get it from your vet. I don't think it's one you can just sort of buy over the counter. So if you are going to be reaching out for the biotin, don't get the 2% one, because you're going to have to feed like 500 grams to get any sort of decent results, and your horse won't eat the food because it's going to be eating powder.
Yeah, and look at your overall balance in the diet. You might be able to find or source a good quality one just to add on top, because there have been studies that show that it really assists in that hoof growth. But in saying that, the hoof wall, it takes 12 months for a new hoof to form, and we have to be patient, knowing that you tick your nutrition box, but also keeping that environment dry where you can. I know it's hard, and getting that dry sawdust or keeping that environment dry, I know it's easier said than done, but that's really what the basis is. So if you got your balanced nutrition first, you have your patience with that growth of the hoof wall, you always maintain farrier work, and then it's up to the genetics, your environment, the age, and these all play a part of the hoof quality and knowing your horse.
Right, I echo that thought 100%, and I think the key word is their balanced nutrition. So if you are feeding an unbalanced diet, those hoof problems are going to come to the surface a lot quicker, and then you're going to be reaching out for that silver bullet supplement that is getting contributed to by the poor diet. So it's better off to get your diet right. You might not have the hoof problems, or if they do come, they're going to come at a much later stage because your horse is getting all the nutrients to help repair what's going on, and you might not need to reach out for that biotin, or if you do, it might be 2 or 3 months after, and you might not need to keep that horse on a biotin for as long. But yeah, don't get fooled with buying the 2%. Always look for the 30% plus one. Just a tip there.
Yeah, that's great, Peter. And yeah, now we're nearing lunch, and I think we'll end the podcast now.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Cheers.